Welcome back to my car cave. Today I have another 2024 F1 offering, this time from Minichamps. This is the Mercedes W15 Performance or E-Performance, driven by Lewis Hamilton in the 2024 season. It's a standard Minichamps box with a picture of Lewis, kind of some Mercedes elements on it, but nothing, nothing too exciting. This is not limited edition. This is just kind of the regular season release. So let's go ahead and get it out of the box, and we'll take a closer look at the model. Okay, so let's look at the quality of this model. This is a Minichamps diecast model, so it's got a nice hefty weight. It came in that acrylic window box, which is usually indicative of a diecast model versus a resin. And in the past many years, most of the Red Bulls and Mercedes have been done in diecast, whereas the other teams have been done in resin. So this is pretty typical when you buy the Mercedes to expect a diecast model. Rear wheels do spin, not super freely, and the fronts, well, they do turn. It's, it's really not ideal, and neither the fronts turn left or right. All that is standard. It's been that way for many, many years. We just want to go ahead and point it out. This particular livery from Mercedes lends very nicely to the Minichamps. I call it their, I think it's their forte or specialty of high quality gloss paint, as well as impeccable carbon fiber decaling. So this is no different than in previous years. Their execution is fantastic. As usual, the tires are have this extra, imprint on the side there, a little detail there that you don't necessarily get from other suppliers of F1 and 1/18. I always think the tires and the rims on Minichamps are superior to other manufacturers. The carbon fiber decal, as I always talk about, is just great. On this particular car, there's not a lot of variation. There's a little striation carbon fiber here. Most of it's this kind of carbon weave texture, but it's, it's all over this car here. As I've mentioned in other videos, they've done a much better job of not having any kind of stretching on the decals, these carbon fiber decals. That was experienced maybe on the 2022 cars when they first started really having to apply a decal to the entire car. They used to just be able to paint the cars, and now for the most part, these guys, they're having to put carbon fiber on the entire body of the car. Again, like I said, this one I think is super nice. Got this nice glossy black rear wing and rear cowling. It's got the silver Mercedes stars there. I think Spark will probably do them in a chrome color. I do think the silver paint is probably the more accurate one. This little air outlet here done in a nice carbon fiber as well. Got carbon fiber on the inside here. A little bit disappointing. Actually got carbon fiber here on the rear wings as well. The lower down wings. A little bit disappointing is that on the Red Bull, I had mentioned they put a decal to make the exhaust pipe look like it had been heat cycled. That's probably not the right word, but had heated up, and therefore the element had changed color and had kind of blue and gold tones to it. This is back to kind of the chrome, which they also did on the Sauber car as well. They just kind of left it chrome. So I'm not sure why they chose to do the upgraded detail on the Red Bull, but not on the Sauber or the Mercedes that I've seen thus far this year. Cockpit is typical Minichamps. A nice proportioned helmet. It's got the reflective visor, or the purple visor, which I think is pretty neat. The painted gloves, that kind of stuff. It's all pretty standard fare. Again, if you've bought Minichamps before, you know what you're getting. Really no photo etching here. The pitot tubes here are plastic. The antenna here is plastic. A little bit of photo etch here, but that's really all there is. So anyways, from a quality perspective, I do think this is a fantastic model. I think if I had any real comments, this yellow looks a little muted. I think this probably actually should be a brighter one. I I do expect spark is probably going to be brighter. Hamilton's helmet, yeah, looks pretty good. No real complaints there in terms of color. I'd need a spark to really kind of check to see what that looks like. But overall, high quality, typical Minichamps quality model. Really nice. Happy to add it to my collection. And let's go ahead and talk about some of the race history. All right, something I like to kind of do is compare the new season car versus the previous season car. In the case of Mercedes, they did a massive overhaul for 2024, changing probably 90% of the car from the exterior point of view. So anyways, most notably, the first thing they kind of stepped away from was this zero side pod concept that they had run in 2022 and most of 2023. About halfway through 2023, they adopted a more traditional looking side pod. And found that was, gave them some benefit towards the end of the season. And they started 2024 with those side pods or a variation of that going forward. Then the other thing that they kind of stepped away from was these cannons in the back, this kind of cannon cowling design that runs nicely through here, has these beautiful sculpted cannons. They went with a more traditional flat tabletop look that some of the other guys have been running. Ironically, Red Bull developed or designed their 2024 car with this cannon concept, and were super successful with it the first half of the season. They later went to this kind of tabletop design for the second half of 2023, and the car was a lot less successful. I'm not saying that's correlated, just kind of interesting to note. But that Red Bull was very successful with a design that Mercedes was maybe less successful with. That said, so this car again, it's a kind of contrasting statement. They won 4 races this season, whereas the car in the background won only 1 race. Yet the car in the background finished second in the championship, and the 2024 car finished 4th in the championship. So that would definitely feel like a step backwards, despite having more wins. So anyways, this car, again, like I said, I think it was, successful in the fact that it won races despite only finishing 4th in the championship. It's kind of a boring design. Mercedes, in my mind, had been kind of the leader in risky designs, which is not always the right thing to do. And I think that's, kind of was proven. Adrian Newey famously, designed some extreme McLarens, back in the knots that one, I think the 2003 didn't even race. And so they were forced to use the 2002 car for a second season before he could get it reliable enough to be racing. And I think Mercedes kind of, with this zero side pod concept, it's, visually super interesting to me when all the other cars kind of look similar, but it was just not the right decision for being competitive. So they moved to a more traditional looking car. Like I said, they've got these nice side pods. Something a little unique to them is they had this kind of, rather than the underbite that everyone else was running, they kind of ran this, I think it's called the P-shaped radiator entry. And it's actually on a lot of the 2025 cars now, some variation of that. And it's P because of the shape there. Huge undercut here. But the rest of it's pretty standard. They kind of implemented this downwash area, kind of bathtub style downwash that has kind of become common. It's not the the full blown one that Ferrari introduced in 2022, but it's the variation that's more common amongst say Williams and Aston Martin and Sauber and those guys as well. Other than that, nothing super, nothing stands out too much. The rear wing has been revised here. It's a much sharper flat end. The previous years they kind of curled over, rounded over, but everyone was kind of going with this sharper edge here for the 2024 season. But yeah, other than that, nothing stands out too much aerodynamically. The underside of the car here, for those of you who are interested in it, looks pretty standard. If I can, maybe I'll throw a photo of the other one, the previous season, so you can see that, or Here, I'll just go ahead and show you what that one looks like. And maybe you can pause the video or do something so you can take a photo with your phone and you can compare the two side by side. But yeah, anyway, it's pretty standard stuff. Even spacing, it looks like, for the Venturi fence strakes there. And again, just looking here, yeah, pretty similar, just some minor differences here. But anyways, that is the 2024 Mercedes F15. Hope you like the video. If you do, please hit like, hit subscribe. I'll have some more 2024 cars soon, as well as other F1.